Hello, everybody.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi. Good evening. It's evening. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. All right. You are awake. Okay. Cool. Welcome to Maya Cinemas and the Youth Voices film screening. Yeah. Okay. All right. Awesome. My name is Kyle Lowe. I am the training coordinator at CMAC. I had the pleasure of working with these awesome students and getting their films produced, and we're really excited to show them to you this evening. Joining me here is Brian Harley.
The other mic's not working, so I'll talk out of this mic. How's everybody doing tonight? Or this late afternoon? Thank you for all of you being here with us tonight. For this culmination of what has been a several month-long program that we've been doing at CMAC in collaboration with the Youth Leadership Institute and the California Endowment. Really started back in the summer is when we first kind of got our cohort of young people together. And I do have to say, first and foremost, thank you very much to the California Endowment for providing a grant to support this program and making everything possible. So we put our hands together for them. Karen and Francisco from Calendal are here. Thank you guys so much. And thank you to everybody at the Youth Leadership Institute, our adult allies who helped mentor along with Kyle, our youth cohort. And as I was saying, the program started last summer and several months working with Kyle on how to tell a story using video, because that's what we're all about at CMAC. If you don't know about CMAC or not super familiar with us, we're the Community Media Access Collaborative. We're a nonprofit. We have a community media center in downtown Fresno where people of all ages can come and learn how to create their own media. But this program specifically was working with young people to create documentary films about really issues that were important to them. We didn't tell them, necessarily which topics to pick. They got to decide for themselves.
Yeah, we wanted it to be framed under the premises of social justice or building healthy communities. But specifically what it was under that umbrella was chosen by the students, the cohort.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the films that they...
Yeah, you are going to see 3 films, one entitled Tolteca, one entitled Home for All, Fresno, A Home for All, and one titled Intergenerational Politics. And then at the end, you'll see a little behind-the-scenes look of some interviews with the cohort, and then we will invite them down for a little Q&A afterward. So you can ask them questions if there was something specifically you wanted to know about the films. We'll bring our filmmakers down, and you can ask them anything you want to know about their films.
Find out what inspired them to tell these stories. And the point of this program, and really the point of this is, and what we do at CMAC is, empowering people to have the skills to tell the stories of our community. And it's so important that we hear from our youth about what they think about anything, but especially these important topics that these filmmakers decided to focus on. And so we're so thrilled to be able to do this work and to work with such talented young people to be able to do this. And we hope that this is just the beginning of this program and that we're able to do stuff like this going forward. And in fact, before the films start, we're going to show you 2 little snippets. One is about the Youth Leadership Institute. It's a couple minutes long, just talking a little bit about them and what they do. And you'll see a little short film about another youth program from CMAC to get a little idea of our other work with young people in our community.
So once again, thank you to the California Endowment, thank you to YLI, Youth Leadership Institute, thank you to Maya Cinemas.
Yes, Larry at Maya Cinemas and his whole staff for allowing us to be here tonight and watch the films up on the big screen. It's really awesome.
Yeah. So we've got Natalie up in the projection booth. On 3, let's give Natalie a roll it. So on 3, 1, 2, 3, roll it!
Live production is different because you don't have that leniency of saying, oh, we'll just go back and edit it. What you see is what the audience is gonna see.
It's hard at first because you don't really know what to do, but it's definitely easy to catch on. I mean, you learn pretty quickly. I mean, the people around here are very helpful. It's a team effort, so everyone kind of learns a little bit of everything just from watching and doing.
When I show up to a live CMAC production, I know for a fact that I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to learn new skills. I'm going to get better at the skills that I already know. Overall, I'm just going to come out of it better than I was before.
On this type of production, team means not only like having a leader there, but also having friends, like multiple friends. Everybody's willing to help you out and listen. The staff at CMAC is really supportive and helpful, and they're also just really friendly in general and really welcoming.
Live production is unique because you really only get one shot. You don't get a do-over like in normal stuff with like sets and all that kind of stuff. It's really just like go, go, go.
The Fresno Fuego, first place in the Southwestern Division, and they were coming off a road trip that went about as perfect as you could get.
I love video production because of all of the hard work and like determination that it takes, because a lot of people, they're like, oh, I want to go into video production, but they don't really understand that it's actually more work than setting up a camera and pressing record.
I like working under pressure because it really motivates me to get things done. My job as a technical director is to push buttons when the director tells me to, and that will bring things onto the screen, like bugs or different camera cuts.
I get a lot of the celebrations of the players when they finally make that goal. I get a lot of the corner kicks. I get a lot of like just the on-the-field action that kind of allows the viewer to actually be inside the actual game itself. I love video production because to me it seems like it's one giant puzzle that just needs to be solved.
The first time that I saw my replays on air, I felt sort of a sense of accomplishment because I knew that that was me.
Can't get it, left foot from Blanco, but it's finally in! The attack continues!
And just knowing that I was able to do that and have it look good, it just makes me feel really good.
Before I came into live production, I had never done anything that was a live shoot at all. You know, now I'm able to pull cables and run cameras and set up all these other different things. The entire thing is a learning experience. So if you have no experience to begin with, you're gonna come out learning something new, and you're gonna enjoy doing it.
To me, CMAC is really a community. I've met a lot of people, like a lot of great people that I think I will still be in contact with after this. Like, if I need to work on something, you still know someone that is interested in the same thing as you are. I will never forget this experience.
We all love the same thing, which is just creating media in general. Overall, it's just a very interesting experience, and it's awesome.
Give it a shot because you might end up belonging there more than you think you do.
The Youth Leadership Institute gives the youth a voice, definitely, because I remember when I was so much younger, I didn't think I had one at all, until someone came up and reminded me, hey, what about you? What do you have to say? What do you have to bring to the table? And no one's ever asked me that before. Me and a couple other youth leaders got together to reduce alcohol usage in the youth. And a way to do that was to just simply reduce alcohol advertisements. So we thought of a couple ways to just reduce that. Talk to store clerks, offer alternative solutions. We talked to city council members. We even made it in the local newspaper. It was really cool.
There was times where I felt like, my voice didn't matter, or no one really wasn't listening. The Youth Leadership Institute is important because it provides a number amount of just people that just care about you and care about your cause and what you're fighting for. When the app is finished, we should have all our air quality monitors put up at the schools in Fresno. Anytime you want to know the air quality in your area, pretty much just pull up the app. It will display the air quality, the temperature, the average of that day, the suggestions, and more info. Knowledge is power. I think my project equips my community with knowledge. Always good for another youth to see a youth engaged in their community. It's just pretty much a spark of flame under their seat. You know what I'm saying? It's powerful. If they find out what they love and they find like they have a real passion for it and they just pretty much engage into that specific subject, like go full-heartedly engage into it, the sky is the limit.
Aside from just like skills, the Youth Leadership Institute has provided me with many opportunities. This opportunity to me, it gives me a sense of purpose and belonging because I have the knowledge and I have experience and stories. And I know that if I have this opportunity to help those around me who weren't lucky enough to be given the resources, I can be the one to step up and make the difference.
It's important for youth to be involved in their communities because we're the next generation.
Welcome to Tolteca. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm not. Mi nombre es Aarón Ordaz. Yo soy originario de la Ciudad de México y de allá emigré hacia los Estados Unidos, principalmente en California. Los Ángeles fue mi llegada principal cuando llegué recientemente aquí a Estados Unidos. Yo llegué un abril 18 del 1987. Pero mi niñez fue muy bonita. Vengo de una familia muy unida. Todos los mexicanos somos regularmente muy unidos. No teníamos lujos, pero no teníamos carencias. En mi adolescencia, yo estaba estudiando, antes de venir hacia acá, la universidad. Estaba en la Universidad Autónoma de México, cruzando mi tercer trimestre en ingeniería en mecánica. Y platicando con varios amigos, me dijeron que en el Politécnico era una mejor escuela para cursar una carrera técnica. Entonces decidí cambiarme de escuela, de la Universidad Autónoma de México al Politécnico. En ese inter, pierdo un trimestre de escuela y por coincidencia uno de mis primos, primo hermano, venía a Estados Unidos a trabajar con su papá, un tío hermano de mi madre, y me invita. Entonces yo dije, bueno, pues vamos a Estados Unidos a pasear mientras regreso a la escuela. Y llegando aquí, mi sorpresa fue de que comencé a trabajar. Me gustó, vi la diferencia entre lo que uno gana en México y lo que ganaba aquí. Y después de 3 meses que yo tenía que regresar a México, me quedé. Porque empecé a trabajar en una empresa a donde me dieron la oportunidad de empezar en ventas. En los fines de semana o los días que tenía libres, me dio por ir a comprar productos de dulce y me venía al área de Santa Bárbara, Oxnard, Ventura, a vender esos productos y al mismo tiempo como que medio vacacionar el fin de semana con las ganancias que me proveía el producto. Así que lo hacía sin la intención de hacer un negocio, pero cuando me di cuenta de la necesidad de esos productos en esas zonas y que a medida que yo iba subiendo más hacia el norte, eran mejores aceptados, empecé a considerar la idea de realmente enfocarme en ese tipo de negocio. Así que me di cuenta que teníamos que buscar un nombre muy corto, que fuera fácil de identificar, pero al mismo tiempo que tuviera peso. Y dije, bueno, yo soy originario de la Ciudad de México. Los que fundaron la Ciudad de México fueron los toltecas. Los toltecas fueron los primeros que fundaron toda la planicie de la Ciudad de México, dejaron un legado muy bonito, en el cual toda la cultura de los toltecas es muy grande. Y como en ese entonces y a la fecha no hay tantas compañías que tengan el nombre de Tolteca, por eso dije, bueno, creo que el más apropiado es Tolteca. Entonces, como teníamos que hacer una fusión entre lo mexicano y lo americano, entonces por eso es Candies Tolteca. Empezamos en la casa, podríamos decir que en la sala de la casa. Eventualmente nos dimos a la tarea de rentar una pequeña bodega, que en ese entonces medía tal vez 2.500 pies. Contratamos a 2 personas que nos ayudaban a empacar o a reempacar el dulce que yo compraba, y yo, que era el que me dedicaba a vender todo. Y pues, después de muchos años, estamos hablando de 22 años, hemos podido crear una empresa en la que distribuimos todo tipo de dulce mexicano, botanas. Contamos ahorita con 22 vendedores que andan en todo el norte de California, Nevada, Utah. Afortunadamente le podemos dar trabajo en la zona de empaque a un promedio de 13 personas, más lo que involucra oficina, sería tal vez otras 5 personas. Y ese ha sido un arduo trabajo, pero siempre muy bonito, con la mentalidad de llegar lo más arriba que se pueda. Creo que este país nos brinda muchas oportunidades, porque es un país noble, es un país a donde el que lucha por alcanzar un sueño lo puede lograr. Creo que es muy bonito el poder ver lo que has logrado y la gente que te está rodeando y que te está acompañando en la aventura.
Everywhere I've gone, I've been welcomed with open arms, and that's what I like about Fresno. We're a really nice city. We really are. I mean, you go to the grocery store, people say hello to you. What I like about Fresno is it has big city stuff and it's still a small town feel. We just got to get away from the small town thinking and start thinking more progressively. That's all.
Addie Carr works in the Tower District of Fresno, an area which is home to some of Fresno's most active residents, including a presence of an ever-growing homeless community.
Lots of different layers of homelessness. You have folks who are chronically homeless, that have been on the streets for years, and might struggle with a mental health issue or a substance abuse issue. You also have folks that are couch surfing, so they're bouncing from place to place, which is, I would say, fairly common with youth homelessness. And even older adult homelessness. And then you have whole families that are homeless, right, due to various issues, domestic violence issues.
In the Tower District, all walks of life are supported and even helped by the neighboring businesses in the area. Yet many of the homeless population continues to get 5150'd with a lack of access to mental health resources. This leads many individuals down the path of self-medication.
The mental health is one of the major factors in substance abuse. And a lot of times that's combined, right? Folks are self-medicating and have had long-term mental health disorders, and I would say severe mental health disorders. And a number of our folks that come into the store also have a diagnosis, and they're not necessarily taking the medication because it's hard to keep track of medications, or medications are stolen. They're bouncing from place to place, and so there's a lot of barriers in terms of them even maintaining their mental health if they actually have a diagnosis.
Though community members acknowledge what homeless individuals deal with on a daily basis, the homeless population are still the first to deal with the effects of public policy. In fact, this year the STOP Act was proposed to the City Council to make it illegal for individuals in cars to give money or food to a homeless individual at an intersection. Community members protested against this, and the ordinance failed to pass. In 2017, however, Fresno City Council voted 6-1 in favor of the Unhealthy and Hazardous Camping Act. This ordinance made camping in public and private properties illegal. Those that violate the act could face a $1,000 fine, up to 6 months in jail, or be relocated to a M.A.P point program. One organization that works closely with the M.A.P point initiative is the Poverello House, which has been a strong resource for Fresno's homeless community.
Multi-agency access point, and that program is to link people directly to the resources they need, like medical care, mental health services, and housing. And that's also funded by Department of Behavioral Health, and we work in collaboration with Kingsview and Central La Familia. That program alone can see up to 90 people per day.
Sarah Merhadi, the Chief Program Officer of the Poverello House, also had the chance to touch on other resources that their organization has to offer.
So our goal here is to provide services to everybody regardless of their circumstances. So we're kind of like a no questions asked facility. So not only do we have our homeless programs here, but we also have our men's residential rehab program, which is 6 months to 1 year. That is a completely free program. And we also have a vibrant aftercare program.
Much of these services are provided on the camp. This includes meals and temporary housing. Outreach is also done by sending food trucks to rural areas in Fresno, as well as keeping in contact with other organizations due to a strong need of differing services.
Because right now there is a shortage of family shelters in Fresno. And also there's a shortage of shelters that takes all types of families, including fathers as heads of households and things like that. So we want to make sure that we, provide those types of services for those families wishing to stay intact, even if they don't fit the traditional family mold. We actually work with a lot of different organizations. I always say Poverello House is not one agency can't resolve the homeless issue. We have some of the answers, but not all of the answers. So as a result, we work for many fine organizations like Turning Point, WestCare, the Housing Authority, EOC, Kingsview, Central La Familia, also work with Fresno County Department of Social Services and Fresno County Department of Behavioral Health on a regular basis.
You have tons of just individuals who actually do care about people, especially in this area, the Tower area, that will encourage people to seek treatment or go into rehabilitation programs or just walk alongside.
We're all dedicated into helping people. And these agencies need to be, acknowledged, and they need to give encouragement because sometimes they hear a lot of negative stuff in the press, but they're really doing a lot of good work and doing some damage in a good way. It's just a huge problem.
And it's a problem Fresnans haven't shied away from. Rather than turning their backs, Fresnans have turned to each other to promote and work with organizations that support lower-income communities. Fresno's not a perfect city, but it's a city that many call home. A home for rich, poor, black and white. Fresno's a city filled with individuals and groups that strive to create a better home for all.
There's different folks in different levels, right? So you have Evangel Home, you have the Marjorie Mason Center, right? You've got Poverello House and the Rescue Mission, and there's another program called a program under New Outlook. You have WestCare that's helping with substance abuse. You have CAPS, you have Turning Point, and then you have an organization like Living in Fresno that's working with folks that are in the motels, which the federal government wouldn't necessarily define as homeless, but I personally would define as at risk for homelessness for families that are bouncing in and out of the motels in our city. And so you have, quite a few organizations.
We wanted to know how residents of Fresno view national and local politics. We interviewed voices from different generations with varying political views and asked them what they thought of controversial issues. Here is what they had to say.
When I just got my real ID, I had to re-up. I've been a Republican all my life, but I really struggled with, am I still a Republican? I did end up registering as a Republican, but I'm just hanging on by my fingernails as a Republican right now.
I believe police brutality and stronger gun laws, they run hand in hand. If we get rid of our guns, who won't say that the government won't just come and take over? We do need the small arms to just protect ourselves. I am a black woman in this world, man. This is no game.
Moral y unidad familiar tiene que empezar en nuestra casa. De esa manera no va a haber tiroteos afuera.
I do believe that folks have the right to bear arms. You know, it's a constitutional right that we all have. Do I think people need assault rifles or things that have the capacity to harm a lot of individuals quickly? No.
To be a reasonable discussion of what we need. I'm not against gun laws, and I think most nations that have more stringent gun laws than the United States have less mass shootings than the United States.
I don't think any citizen should have access to an AK-47. I think there needs to be an assault rifle ban. I think that there needs to be some type of a mental health assessment that is associated with the permitting process.
There's an urgency behind that. We don't have much time to really turn back what we've done to Mother Nature or this planet.
Tenemos que tomar conciencia de que tenemos que poner ese granito de arena para que nuestro planeta siga pues en un estado de que no se va a dañar más. Conciencia es lo que tenemos que tener y cuidar nuestro planeta.
Mother Earth is dying if we don't take care of her. We have to start locally first. We have to start in our own neighborhoods. We have to start recycling. We have to stop getting rid of recycling places. We have to make them more available. It should be no reason why we walk down the streets of Fresno, California, and it's trash every single where, and there's no trash can in sight.
Housing should be affordable to those people, because what's the point of training them up, giving them an opportunity, however they're not able to have a place of their own or afford it.
Help these people. Help them, because you don't know where that $1 little or that $1.50 or that $1.75 might get them. That might get them some food for the night that they haven't had in almost 2 or 3 weeks.
La ciudad de Fresno está haciendo todo a su alcance para ayudar a estos hombres, pero algunos hombres no quieren ayuda. Entonces hay que entender eso, que sí hay ayuda, pero no la quieren.
Arresting people for being homeless or giving to panhandlers, it's not going to work. I think we just have to look for how do we get them into housing and what's the easiest and most cost-efficient way to do that, and then get them social services.
Education, I think, is so flawed right now. I think that the curriculum was written so long ago and times are different now. So I think we need to take a look at that.
Sabemos que para tener unos jóvenes productivos a la sociedad tienen que tener una educación básica de muy buena calidad.
You have a school district with immense challenges of kids that don't have a home life that my kids have and have to overcome that. Having said that, I think Fresno Unified has come light years forward in the last decade or so. I'm so impressed by what they've done to raise the schools up.
It should not be no reason where other schools are less funded than other schools because of their area code. Our kids in these schools, they don't need to be treated as if they're in prison. This is no school to prison pipeline. That needs to go. We have to focus, we have to push, we have to put power into our kids, because nobody in this world is going to put power into them if our elders don't.
There are some really deep-rooted issues that support a student success in the classroom, because one thing that I always say is backpacks are not the only things that our kids are bringing to school with them every day. When I think about the idea that there are 15 families living out of their cars. To me, that's unconscionable, and we're not doing our job to meet those needs. Kids who come to school hungry and they go home and they're not getting dinner. These are all things that impact a student's learning.
America's founded off the idea of immigrants.
America's a melting pot of different cultures coming together, and that's what we do.
Tenemos que estar preparados para las expectativas que vienen y sobre todo unidad. Unidad en la comunidad. La comunidad inmigrante debe de estar mano a mano para lo que venga. Solos cada uno de nosotros no vamos a poder.
Así es.
I think that it should be easier to immigrate, although I don't think we should reward people for doing it illegally. I don't think mass deportation is necessarily the correct answer.
Almost the majority of these people are hardworking, honest. They're probably as law-abiding as any citizens out there because they can't afford to get in trouble. They're going to get sent out of the country.
At the end of the day, these are taxpayers. These are people that came to America that is looking for a better life. People are being snatched out of their schools, out of their homes, everywhere. The fact that they have no safety in America is a dang shame.
I don't know if a wall is necessarily the best way to go about that, but I don't think anything should be off the table when dealing with immigration because it's something that we need to talk about right now. It's urgent, and I don't think it's getting as much attention as it needs to be getting.
The next police chief should approach the work with a listening ear and be collaborative. There are a number of community leaders that were invested in that search process that didn't feel like they were heard.
Transparency, that's very important to the community that we live in, not just in the hiring process, but what the future of the department could look like.
I'm an African American woman, and I am going to be honest, I have a fear of the police. And recently I had to call on them, and I was terrified to the point I was almost in tears. The situation was positive. Every situation is different. We haven't always had the best relationship, and until we fix that trauma that occurred and that's occurring now, we will never be able to move forward as a country and as a nation, as a city.
I think we need a police chief who's not married to any old school ways of doing policing. And maybe a police chief that looks more like the people of Fresno. Maybe if there is a really qualified candidate that is of color and maybe of a different gender or whatever, to be a more inclusive feel in the process, I think is worth looking at.
Fresno, California, are you ready to move? Because we can't stay where we are, because Fresno, California has been stagnant for way too long. It's time for transformation. It's time for rebirth.
What I'll vote for in a mayor is a candidate that can cast vision for Fresno, that fits the vision that I have for Fresno, to see all of Fresno raised up and become a great city. They've got to have vision, and they've got to have a plan, and they've got to show some competence for executing that plan to get my vote.
Mayor de aquí de Fresno tiene que venir con un paquete completo. Todas las cualidades. ¿Saben por qué? Porque conforme pasa más el tiempo, es un trabajo más duro el que van a tener ellos.
I'm hoping to see more from all of the candidates, specifically as it relates to equity issues in our region, ensuring that our administrations have diverse representation in them that is reflective of the community that they serve.
As an LGBTQ person who lives in Fresno, I would love our new mayor to really have our backs in community issues and things that happens to our community. I'm hoping to have a mayor that will have our backs and who will be at Pride and who will, be at our community events and really engage and learn from the community.
Nos podemos enfocar en la ciudad, en las aguas, las pipas y que el pavimento, que las carreteras. Very good, está bien. Pero que haya un mayor que de veras le interese a los jóvenes. ¿Sabes qué? Vamos a ver, siempre hacemos algo para la ciudad, pero ¿estamos haciendo algo para los jóvenes?
Yo creo que los jóvenes son el futuro para un mejor país.
Well, I was a big supporter of Measure P. and feel like Fresno really made a mistake. Our leaders really made a mistake in really killing that as an opportunity for Fresno.
I love just to be out in public spaces because that's where a lot of creativity, culture, and so much more is developed. I do believe that our parks are underfunded. We need to see more kids in our parks. We have to have something for these kids to do because if they don't, they're going to run to these streets.
A healthy Fresno, to me, would be where children and families are thriving.
Yo me imagino un Fresno saludable, primeramente con ese mayor que viene, que trabajara en las familias. En las familias, porque de ahí vamos a obtener unos jóvenes saludables y por lo tanto vamos a tener un Fresno saludable y feliz.
I wish everyone was able to kind of provide for themselves and make their own decisions without necessarily the government tapping into their lives all the time. I do believe in people, and I think that people know what's best for them and their families.
A healthy Fresno looks like there's plenty of green space for everyone. It looks like a downtown that's bustling.
So healthy Fresno looks to me like a growing economic base that we're starting with the revitalization of our inner core and growing from there. And so everything focused on how do we build our downtown and our neighborhoods around downtown, then our transit corridors at Blackstone and Kings Canyon, and start to build the economic business base around there.
A land full with the undocumented, the homeless, the rich, and the overall counted out. The one thing we have in common is we all coexist within this beautiful city that is called Fresno, California. What makes for a healthy Fresno? A healthy Fresno is allowing healing to take place within the roots of our communities. A healthy Fresno brings the end of senseless violence, police brutality by Fresno PD, ICE raids, and the brokenness taking place in the streets of our communities.
Vamos a dar un aplauso a Fresno, vamos.
Fresno City.
Fresno City, vamos.
My name is Ruben. I'm an illustrator for the No Youth Media, and I'm a participant of Youth Voices.
My name is Gabby. I'm a reporter at the No Youth Media, and I'm also a participant with Youth Voices.
So my name is Raymar, and I'm a participant in the Youth Voices project.
My name is Johnson. I'm a program coordinator for Youth Leadership Institute, and I am an adult ally for the Youth Voices project.
My name is Mark Pizzania. I'm an adult ally for the Youth Voices program. I work at the Youth Leadership Institute and am the Fresno Boys Men of Color.
The Youth Voices project is a collaboration with CMAC, with some of our young people from Youth Leadership Institute, for them to learn video and video production and editing and everything that goes on to creating a video. It just gives them a voice in a different capacity, a different medium that they probably normally wouldn't have.
Almost a year-long effort, and it involved getting a lot of us from some youth advocacy organizations like the No Youth Media and Boys and Men of Color, and putting them in a space where they'll have access to equipment and lessons to be able to tell their own story about some of the issues they see going on in Fresno.
I've learned a lot about cameras. I learned just how they work, which I found out cameras are super heavy when filming B-roll. Yeah, your hands get like super shaky and stuff, so it's like props to whoever like has to like hold it alone. Dude must be buff.
I feel like I've gotten better at interviewing and just basic creation of a video. So I feel like I've gotten a really well-rounded approach on how to present a story on video. Before starting this project, I don't think I would have known where to begin. And so this gave me a place where I could discover those things like how to set up a camera, how to get your interviews, how to jot down, what you want accomplished through your video. And so that was a really cool thing about this project, is that I got to learn through each step.
We sat down, we talked about the stories we wanted to tell and how we could possibly tell it. It's like what were some reoccurring issues, and it's conversations that we've had in different spaces like numerous times, but now it was like, okay, where do we want to take some of the things we see every day and how are we going to put it in a video? From there, we took the time to plan our video and how we were going to put it into action and what we were going to record and edit. So we all got into groups who wanted to be a part of which project, and people were able to do multiple projects or could be on their own.
The practicing really helped out because it was like still fresh in my mind. Creating this type of medium is a lot more, I don't want to say hard, but a lot more goes into it than what you actually see.
Once you put a face on a story, that's when you get the full emotion of things. I chose to do like a story on immigrants. Like my parents are immigrants, I'm an immigrant. So the person we interviewed was Mr. Adon. He was an immigrant from Mexico. He owns Tolteca candies, which and like you can go to your general just convenience store and you see candies right there with the Tolteca brand. He's created businesses for his sons. He has this like brand for popsicles, Pops Emporium. Then like Boca Taqueria. He's done so many things, and he's an immigrant. He's created so many jobs. Like he owns 3 warehouses, and you see these employees like going and we've gotten to know them from my dad doing jobs for them, and like he's super friendly, and you just see him being super successful, and he's an immigrant.
I am working with some of our youth on the generational politics in Fresno video.
We're really pulling voices from different generations and asking them about how they feel about local politics, but also national issues. And so we're kind of connecting the two, and we're just exploring with them what their views are and looking at different generations to see, you know, what the differences are, what are there some similarities.
Baby boomers, from millennials and from Gen Z.
Them to have a different perspective, really, because some have been around longer than others, and so they've been through different elected officials than others, and so I think that'll add more to the conversation.
I know Fresno is typically more conservative, but the people that I surround myself are typically more liberal. So I don't really get to see that other side in Fresno, even though I know that that's the majority of what people are here.
So I wanted to do homeless resources in Fresno because it was just something that everybody sees every day. There's been a lot of projects about some of the different homeless issues and how the rates of poverty have skyrocketed over the past 10 years in Fresno. And we wanted to do a video on some of the resources and what options people had to be able to go to and to make that more apparent. So there are a lot of people focus on the negative aspects of homelessness, and obviously it's a big issue, one of our biggest issues that needs to be addressed. But I wanted to more so focus on where a lot of these homeless communities can go to. Shout out to Melissa, she's helping me out with my project right now. So we were able to get a lot of great content and had some great conversations with people that were really involved in the community. Planning and everything took up most of the time for the project, but filming took 3 days, and because of all the preparation we had, we were ready. We were able to handle a lot of the filming for the project, so it came out well.
If you're like showing like all these problems that are happening, and now you're seeing them, you know, face to face in a way, then you're like, okay, this is actually affecting people. And not only that, like if it's filmed like where you live, you're like, it's affecting the same place where I am. Like if it's something in Fresno, you could be like, I drive through that street every single day, or I see that every single day, and you're like, yeah, something needs to change about this, or you know, it motivates people a lot more to do change.
Yeah, I think understanding the different types of media that you are consuming is very important, especially the different types, because print with video, with digital, while it is all, you know, media, they are very different in the way that you perceive them, because print, it's longer. You have to take what you read and form your own opinion on that based on what you read. But with like video, you can see what, you know, the producers and the editors want you to see by the way they convey the message in the video. You know, if it's sad, it's easier to convey sadness on a video than it is in print. So I think just the different types of media and how people consume that is very important.
You can use that tool to inform, educate, and share information with people. And so when you think a topic is powerful enough for a video or for a written piece or for a song, any sort of medium, I think it carries tremendous weight.
Storytelling through video is one of the most effective ways to tell a story, because I know, like, just personally being a 19-year-old, like, I'm surrounded by text all day. Video making is one of the quickest, most efficient ways to learn and be exposed to different things. So you may agree with a video, you may disagree with a video, but what I found with most people, like, if they're just gonna watch a video or documentary, they could 100% not even agree with what the person's trying to convey. But because it's a video, a little 5-minute thing, or it's a movie, people are more willing to sit down and see the images that are going on and step out of their own world for a second.
Yeah. Round of applause to all of the excellent filmmakers. I don't know why there's a gap. Here, look, we'll do this, and then slide over one, and maybe I don't know, I'll sit here. But yeah. Excellent filmmakers. Can I hand you a microphone and you introduce yourself? Is it on? Oh.
Hello, testing. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
So my name is Mark. I'm with the Youth Leadership Institute and part of the Fresno Boys Men of Color.
I'm Raymar Katakutan. I'm with Fresno Boys and Men of Color and the No Youth Media.
I'm Ruben Diaz, and I'm with the No Youth Media.
I'm Gabby Rivas, and I'm with the No.
And I'm Johnson Del Rosario. I'm with Youth Leadership Institute and the program coordinator for the No Youth Media.
Awesome. So hang on to that. What I want to do for maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if you've got questions for the filmmakers about their piece, about filmmaking in general, about their experience, I'll come to you and I'll bring you a microphone so you can ask. I saw one hand already.
So kind of knowing how video production is pretty difficult, what would you say was the most difficult experience for you?
Whoever would like to participate in this question, go for it.
So I think the most difficult part was remembering how to do everything. But the challenge is you're never going to remember how to do everything, and you're going to need to ask for help. And so that was a big thing for us, remembering all the things we need to shoot an interview, remembering things that Kyle taught us about editing. But I mean, we can't possibly remember everything, so being open to just learning, and I would say that was the most challenging thing.
In my case, it was the animations. So like the animations that you guys saw that were like half a second long, took 3 hours to make. It's not worth it. Don't do animations in general. If anyone says let's do a project and let's do animations, tell them no. It takes forever.
For me, it was probably scheduling. I think editing was probably the fun part because you were like learning as you went along. But I like being a full-time student and working too. Like scheduling is like one of the hardest things, especially when you're reaching out to organizations because they have to get it passed through like a board and then all that. But I'm very thankful for the interviews I got.
I'd agree with Raymar. I think the scheduling, I think with our interviewer, we had set up a few dates and they got canceled. And then the day of shooting, we had to push it back a couple of hours. And we're like, you know what? No, we're just going to do it, get it done. The editing wasn't too bad. It was just real like tedious, just kind of going over. And then I think even after looking at the video, I'm like, oh, maybe we should have done this, added this. But yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions for the filmmakers? Oh, all right. Let me go around. Get my workout in.
What's up, guys? What would you say? Why did you guys choose the topics that each one of you did?
I'm gonna go ahead and hand this to the youth because I felt like myself and Johnson kind of just help the youth with the topic, not help them, but can help them mold it. So I'm gonna give it to Raymar.
Why we chose the topics? So I chose the topic of homeless resources because every time we hear the statistic that Fresno has the highest homeless population in California, like it's obviously like one of the biggest issues we have, but at the same time, we also seem to disregard a lot of the groundwork that a lot of organizers are doing in the community. So I live in Southeast Fresno, I go to school to Fresno City, and I work in the Tower District, so I see homeless people every day. And one of the biggest things I see all the time is like a lot of help is offered, a lot of resources are offered to these communities. And recently, one of the homeless individuals that I was close with that I worked at, he passed away recently, and he was originally in the video. And I just wanted to do something to like make a project that made it clear that there are more routes to go to, you know?
So I chose immigration mainly because like I'm an immigrant myself. My family is mainly immigrants, and like normally whenever you would click on the news, you would just see like, oh, this immigrant robbed a store, this immigrant like shanked someone and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's not really the truth. It's the thing that makes it on the news, but it's the same as saying like, oh, Fresno's just full of like bad people. Yeah, we have those. Not gonna lie, we have those, but that's not the majority. You're focusing on like that one little dot. So I wanted to change the narrative really, because like for every one person that's like bad, there's 100 more people that have done good. And in my case, like Senor Ardon was one of those people. He came here, he's an immigrant, and he made so many businesses, and he did so many good. So just to show an example of what the good that we can do.
One thing that I think we all had in common was we wanted to find a topic and eventually create a video that we wanted to see ourselves. And so it started with that little bit of curiosity, that thing that we wanted to see in a video and that we haven't seen. And that's why all of our topics were local. And so Johnson and I thought, well, what about local politics? What about national politics? And then bringing in different voices from different generations. So originally it started off as an idea for a discussion. Like we would film the discussion, but we realized that it might be pretty difficult to manage different cameras. We just saw the difficulty in that, and I'm glad that we did different interviews, even though it was a lot longer to edit and a lot longer to shoot. I think we were able to get really different perspectives, and I think all of our interviewees felt pretty comfortable with us. And so honestly, we just wanted to hone in on a topic that we were interested in, and we wanted to learn more about each of our interviewees.
Thank you. First of all, to the 3 youth filmmakers especially, congratulations on your work. You did a really terrific job today. My name's Jefferson Beavers. I'm with Fresno Filmworks. We show films at the Tower Theater. We'd love to have the 3 of you come anytime you want to our films. I'm really curious, as someone who is just like a junior filmmaker myself, I have like an iPhone, that's all I really use. I'm assuming that the 3 of you especially have phones in your pockets that you're making stuff with all the time. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the biggest disappointments or some of the biggest successes in like working with the actual legit equipment from CMAC versus what you would have made like on your iPhone or your, just whatever's in your pocket? Something really, really surprising or like a big failure?
So something that really surprised me in my first interview is it is very difficult to carry video equipment. It's really heavy. It's really difficult to set up if you've never set up before. CMAC is great because they actually have a little instruction manual in each of their bags. But wow, that is really difficult. It's really nerve-wracking. You have someone in front of you that you're interviewing, and they're probably thinking, what is this person doing? They don't know what they're doing. So I think one thing I noticed was really being open to change and not being scared to shoot on my iPhone, and being just just using the tools that I felt comfortable with, and not being afraid to explore different items. So.
Yeah, I'd probably say like it's the difference between like a professional and your iPhone camera. It's also one of those things that like brings it a bit down. It's just having the learning curve, honestly. Like you open your iPhone and you go to the camera app and you just press record and done. It's recorded. Now on a camera, there's like so many buttons and dials and everything that it's like you find out that even cameras have sunglasses. I didn't know that before. Like there's just so many things that can go like wrong and just like from color to angle to everything else. But I guess we just take our iPhones for granted. But at the end, it will come out better. But it just takes a lot more work.
Man, so like carrying all that equipment in like 110-degree weather in Fresno, it is pretty tough, slow workout. But I think the hardest thing is like just getting used to all the settings. It's very easy to forget a step. Like, so it's important to have a team with you to make sure like everything's in check and right, especially if you're doing an interview, because 1 second like you're so focused on the actual interview, and then you go back to editing and you see like it wasn't even focused. So it's a lot of like just making sure you're on top of every single setting. But it's a big learning curve, but it was worth it.
That being said, Jeff, I do know that there are a number of iPhone clips in most of the films. Did you feel like you could tell if there was? Oh, all right, cool. So I mean, yeah, any tool that you have, I'm a big proponent of using what you have. All right, we got two questions up here. I'm gonna cut through here because it's easy.
Yeah, I was wondering if this was just a project that you're gonna remember, hey, that was cool, or if this lit a fire and you want to continue on doing filmmaking, and if so, do you have already a project in mind?
So I think, yeah, most definitely, I think video editing was something I've always wanted to work in, and now that I have the experience, I do hope to carry it forward, but not anytime soon. Like I said, it was like a lot of scheduling, but I think it's something that's it's one of the most fun things that you could do. Like, even though it is a lot of work sitting down and editing and like being able to choose how you want your story to be told, it's one of the most like rewarding things. So I definitely want to do it in the future.
So personally, I would like to continue. Now my habits do not allow me to do that. I procrastinate way too much, and you have to be like really on time with this. Like it's just we started in the summer, and it wasn't until like this Tuesday that we finished. It's like you really have to be on top of things. But I definitely I definitely would like to continue and take all this knowledge in, and it's been useful. I mean, like now I know how to shoot at least better with my iPhone at least.
Yeah, I definitely think that I would like to continue using video. When I was beginning this project, I really didn't have much experience, and it was really a lot of learning throughout the process. Our video isn't perfect, so I'm proud with what we did, but I'm the first to say, it wasn't perfect, but I would honestly be open to doing more documentary style videos because I think that was really cool. It was really cool meeting new people. I think only one of these people that we interviewed I knew, and so every interview is different. We got to know more about the person, and we got to get really genuine responses. Like the two ladies that spoke Spanish, they were really cool. They had a lot of energy, and I think that was something that we really enjoyed, is just seeing how genuine they were and their spirit.
I'd like to add that on top of getting these films done, getting them done on a deadline, everybody here had school, work, their lives. Mark had a kid in the middle of. Congratulations, Mark. So it's not easy. It's a lot of scheduling. It's a lot of planning, and they all got it done, which is super awesome. I know we had another question up here.
I just wanted to ask, knowing a little bit more about your guys' background and what you guys got to do this and how long it took. For other young minds here too, I got two sons here. What's the one skill set or the one thing you could say that got you through this process? that allowed it to be successful on whatever levels, because it sounds like there was different success levels for all you three that you could share.
Reminders. It really is, because you just have to be organized, really, and like disciplined. Something I wish, at some point I'd get. But it's just really like having to be on top of things. Like Raymart said, like even with the camera, just like you see those cameras set up, it took a while to set them up, and even then, like before, there was a bit of like issues with sound and stuff. But it's just having to be on top of things and having the discipline to know which things has to be done. Otherwise, probably these wouldn't be done.
A piece of advice I would give to young people is use your resources. So one of our interviews was shot with an iPad, and we actually had a little toolkit that we used to capture sound. But even then, we shot a lot of our B-roll with our iPhones, and so using what we had available to us. We also, of course, we use CMAC's equipment, but if we were just walking downtown, a lot of us are really busy, so we might have 15 minutes and we're looking around and we see, oh, that's really cool, and so we shot with our iPhones. Utilizing your networks. If you want to share different perspectives, ask your friends, ask people that you're connected to. This video wouldn't have been possible if we didn't use our resources to the fullest.
Like the number one piece of advice I'd give is to make sure you're doing something like you actually care about. I feel like this project would have been 100 times like harder if I was doing something I didn't care about. So, but video making is more than just like doing a project about homeless resources and all that. It's like just do something you like to do, like do a TikTok or a flipagram or whatever. Just do something you're actually passionate about, and it'll be 100 times more rewarding.
Awesome, awesome. What else does the audience want to know from the filmmakers? Yes.
So my question is a little closer. So my question is about the narratives, and I was wondering how you approach the narrative of your films. Did the narratives come from the footage, or before the footage, or a mix?
So for me, it was definitely a mix. Like I had taken what I had already understood, but the conversations I had really did shift the narrative and the tone of the video. So even the footage that didn't get to make it on the project, like interviews I had with like homeless people, that changed and conversation, just normal conversations I had with homeless people changed like how I looked at the issue. So that definitely changed the tone. Like I had the overview of like what I was gonna film and how I was gonna edit it, but once I actually got the footage, it became like a completely different story.
So for me, it was probably like a lot of limitations between time. Like the video you saw, there was originally supposed to be like 4 other interviewees, but like between time, deadlines, and what was possible and like everything else, it really kind of like shaped the story. Cause like it's like around a 6-minute video, but we've been working on this since summer. So like like it's the same thing with like movies. They're gonna announce one right now, but it's not gonna release until like I don't know 30 years later type of thing. Yeah, it's just limitations like that ended up shaping what was possible in the time that we had and with what we could get.
Well, we wanted to approach our video without really a political agenda. We wanted to approach it with, we wanted to capture these diverse voices and get their honest and true opinions. And so one thing that we really tried to do was get diversity in our interviewees, and we let them speak for themselves. We tried to choose clips that were true to what they said and to what they were trying to convey. So one of our interviews was over an hour, but we had to cut that down and put it into short clips without really cutting off our interviewee and honing in on to their main opinion on the topic.
Awesome, awesome. Any other questions? Yes, all right, all the way at the top. Okay.
Now looking back on your projects, is there anything that you would change?
Yeah, I. Is there anything we would change? Yeah, managing our time better. Yeah, the interviews were like over a course of like 2 months, and really just fixing our time management. I think we would have been done a lot sooner if we managed our time better. So just going back and managing that time and not stressing about the deadline would really have helped.
I think also audio. I think we're not the best at it, and so I think if we were to do this over again, we would work on that part because throughout watching each of our interviews, we noticed there was a big difference in the volume, and sometimes you can't control that, but I think if I were to go back, I would just really try to get better at that.
Probably getting more B-roll to replace those animations. Like I said, I hated them, and they took forever. They look good, but it still took forever. That doesn't change it. That doesn't change it. And yeah, again, like time management, like it probably the reason it took forever is between procrastination and trying to finish The Office for the 19th time. Finding that time to do actually work and better organizing my time.
So I'm pretty happy with like the narrative I told, but I think it's just like 100 times different from watching like a video you made on a Mac and like seeing it on a big screen. Like it's surreal. But I guess the number one thing I would change is, like Ruben said, like it's never enough B-roll. Like after a while, it's like, oh, that shot wasn't good. I gotta cover it with B-roll. Oh, I'm out. So just get as much B-roll as you can if you want to make a video. So.
I think for myself, if I knew that the little interviews that Kyle did were going to be on the screen, I probably would have sat up a little bit better, maybe worn a better shirt and kind of dabbed the face a little bit, but no. I would say, I'm agreeing with Ruben, maybe a little bit more B-roll. I think after kind of initially getting the footage, just like, oh, you know what, we should have asked him this, or maybe kind of had him explain this a little bit more. But getting to sit down with him was already like, it took a lot of our time, and so I'm like, it'd be really hard to have him just put on the same clothes and us go back and asking these same questions, or but it was I was really proud of Ruben, because being gone for 2 months and then kind of coming back and seeing what he had did to it, I'm like, oh wow, this is really good. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I have to admit the interviews with the filmmakers was an exercise. They got to practice before, and I was like, oh, this is really good stuff. I should just make this a piece as well. So that's where that came from. I was like, this would be a good behind the scenes piece. We're so proud of these student filmmakers and adult allies. We got them a present for completing their films as a congratulations.
We hope this also inspires them to continue their video and filmmaking endeavors.
Yes. So each of the filmmakers today is getting a brand new iPad to continue their filmmaking journey. More animations. Just for more animations. All right. Thank you so much to the filmmakers. Thank you, the audience, for coming and enjoying the films with us. Thank you to the California Endowment. Thank you to YLI, Youth Leadership Institute, and Maya Cinemas. for making this possible. We're so happy that it went as well as it did, and we can't thank everyone enough. Do you have more?
Yeah, just real quick, if you want to watch the films again, or if you have friends or family or people who might be interested in seeing the films, they're going to play on CMAC's community television stations, and we'll get the word out to everybody who registered for a ticket about what time they can see them on TV and when they'll be available online, so you watch them on our website as well. And this is not the end for these films. We think the topics they talked about are very important, and the more people that we can share the films with, the better. I think it'd be great if we have other young people in our community maybe watch them in their classrooms, because I think you all did a really great job. So we want to make sure we get these out to as many people as possible to watch and enjoy.
Yeah.
And we look forward to what you're all going to make next. When you have time.
Yeah. So one more round of applause for the filmmakers. Thank you again. If you'd like to learn more, visit us at cmac.tv or our location downtown. Thanks for coming. Have a good night. We'll see you at the next one.